I've said this before to people in private, but as it stands right now, our previous president, Crazy Kings, has currently the longest presidential speech record, which today I'm aiming to absolutely break. Sadly, that means it's gonna be a long one, but I hope for the dear God of me, right, the dear life of me, that we succeed. Yeah, he's probably crazy. We haven't confirmed that. Yeah, he was a yapper back in his day, and I hope I can take the title of the longest speech. Let's begin. Okay. It's split up into 3 parts. When I entered the office, during, and after. So let me begin. When I entered office, there was a lot of talk regarding the future of the nation. And one of these points was the Constitution. Something that quickly became both a prevalent issue and a unifying force in the trials of birthing a fledgling nation. And there's been a lot of heated debates regarding like certain points, aspects, and amendments since. I feel with the guiding light of Adino, Atomic, Quasars, and others, we've come so far as to be able to look at it with a certain glee. Still, it's far from done. Something that needs to be molded into what we need for a nation. And I'm glad to see our fellow countrymen taking up the task. I ask that instead of dissolving into petty arguments, quarrels, and unnecessary hostilities, we instead work together as a unifying force regarding our fragile, yet set in stone, constitution. Next, the diplomacy when I entered office. Throughout my term, I've given a lot of credit. Here I'm talking about Samots, for those who don't know. Throughout my term, I've given a lot of credit to Samots for working so closely to us. They've done, and to us as they've done. And I can genuinely say that with pride. We work together to better our futures instead of holding on to our distant pasts. When I entered office, there was a lot of valid concerns regarding the future of our Diplo. And I believe a lot of Samotians can attest to this. We've had our quarrels, our arguments, and our moments of pettiness. I entered the office with all of that in mind. We've come so far, and a lot of this is due to the openness to look past. Something I hold dear to my heart. And look, this is gonna sound really corny, but it was my mom who said that to get anywhere, you get further with sugar than with salt. Or, in easier terms, it's easier to get further by being kind, forgiving, and willing than you do holding on to petty grudges, hatred stemming from unresolved issues, and arguments of the past. As a people, we've got to look past all of this and instead move to secure the betterment for both our peoples, the security of a friend to have in the darkness. By the way, Adino, while I have you here, ping Eras a bunch for me, okay?
Ping him?
Thank you.
I got you.
Yeah. Okay. Ferrari. I've long looked at Ferrari as a sort of junior partner, like a little brother or a younger cousin for a while. However, the moment I stepped into office, my perception changed. They've held their own for long enough to prove themselves much more than that. They're equal, if not greater than ourselves. That's not self-loathing at all. I believe we should look up to figures like Ares and Androman. They have a lot of aspects about them that are greater than ours. That's why I ask that the new generation of players take inspiration from figures like them. I believe they have a national motto, which I got wrong. I talked to Aris about this, right? This is this is instead a slogan for their political campaign, right? Eterna Sodare. I was wrong about that one. Eris, correct me. Can you send him current national motto in chat so I can find it? Thank you. Actually, I can just scroll up in your announcements. It should be there. Eladev Sodare is their national motto. And I wish you good luck to all our friends across the border. Next, Waldrich. Oh my god. Okay. When I entered office, Waldrich existed like in a large part scattered across the seas in small localized islands. However, throughout my term, they've gained back the northern portion of Adramas. Something that's historically been theirs. I joined Adramas December 23rd of 2024. Yeah, 2 years ago. Whoosh. A while after Northern War. However, I still remember the propaganda posters that were posted, the cheering that was still ongoing, and the happiness and hope everyone had for the future. And yet, the more I reflect on it, the more I feel we've demonized these poor people. For a while, we've been clowning them, been hostile, and held grudges that we had no right holding. Throughout my term, I've talked to them, and I've come to see a lot of similarities between us. We're practically sister nations in a way. Their leaders and ours mingle, talk, and even hang out together outside of Stoneworks. And this is something that has come to warm my heart. I see a lot of similarities between us. And I hope our people in the future can actually work together as to come under one banner or an alliance. They are kind people at heart, and sometimes it just takes a little polishing of the rock to be able to see that.
Sure. Yeah.
Next. This is gonna mention some words that might be difficult for me to pronounce. Osh, are you still here? If you are, type in chat so I can see you. Osh. Oh, you are. Amazing. Okay, Osh, you're gonna love this. It mentions the camel. Spencer, can you get off the camel? Put it back. Can someone get Spencer to put back the camel for me? Thanks. Throughout my term, we've had a lot of nations contact us, right? As you all probably know. However, a lot of them haven't caught my eyes. The same as small desert country, which is vassalized under Saharia did. The country is called Sonudase. Unprompted and unknowing to us, they decided to fly across the entire Cathramis Sea on a happy gas to deliver a singular camel to the capital. Something so shocking to me that I was lost for words. I've since then taken numerous trips to their country, both with and without their knowledge.
Can I have my can too?
Simply to hang out or explore their beautiful nation. I want it to be known. Okay? Don't be shocked if you suddenly see me wandering through the streets of Soyazad after my term. Along with these kind individuals, we've seen past allies of Adrama, such as Vladistan, Saraya, who had beef with us for a while, and Bardonia reach out to us, either to check up or pursue further relations with Adramas. Something that gives me hope for the future of our nation. Seeing all of these friends reach out once more to us, even whilst we're still standing up after a reformation, is simply heartwarming to see. To you, I thank you. I hope the next president of this country takes the time to indulge in diplomacy with you, as I feel it will only go to benefit us. Okay. General feel about the government. This is the last part before we reach halfway, okay? Where it's not that long. I entered as a new, inexperienced leader. Throughout my term, I feel I made several blunders. However, I feel that we've worked to better our country, construct it, talk with each other, and avoid petty quarrels. I entered the office thinking that the presidency was an exaggerated challenge, something I was very wrong to assume. I've joked about the presidency for a while now. However, I don't want you to take me the wrong way. The office is very craving for some, and less for others. I personally was lucky to get it in the midst of my break and after my exams. However, for others unlucky enough to get it within a certain time frame, exactly with school or personal life or stuff like that, I can see how it's very demanding, and I can see how it becomes a problem. And for those presidents who experienced that, I want to thank you for your service as well. Next, my experience as president. During my term, the public were decently moderate in their behavior. However, there were some outliers. For a while, I felt disconnected and unrelatable to the general public. Through my eyes, I took the role of becoming a steady guide for the general populace, and a general mediator. A massive problem was the sort of herd mentality, where if there was a person loud enough, the entire crowd followed them. However, I feel I made it clear that your decisions should be your own and not someone else's. I feel in some situations the same aspect carried over to the NA. Something that I was very wary of in my judgment, and another reason why I've always been skeptical of a lot of our policies and politics. As most of you know, I'm also very anti-party, and for a good reason. Numerous times now have I seen the verbal attack of your fellow compatriots. This is so dumb to me, and something that hurts me to watch. You're running to represent your fellow countrymen, and yet you behave like barbaric lunatics, going around attacking fellow politicians for no reason. Shame on you. This is exactly what I've tried to make clear is wrong. It's not politics. It's not debates. It's attacks on the other's characters, and something that paints you as a disgrace. No more should we tolerate this kind of whack house politics. It's our duty to hold each other responsible for our words, our actions, and how we carry ourselves. Now, this isn't targeted for reference, and I know some of you will take it that way. However, no matter how you align yourself in this current democracy, you will face scrutiny for it, and so will I for speaking out about it. Another genuine concern of mine was standing with other nations. To a lot of our populations and our neighbors had been demonized. However, this was an illogical view. Our neighbors, whom I've talked to extensively, have always been open to reconnection. And I feel the same about Valdrich. A lot of our player base judges too quickly, based purely on mouth-to-mouth stories, rumors, or discreet conversations, something that pains me to see. My decision-making and how I felt doing it. Through my term, I've been in large part having a stance of doing what I believe is going to leave us in the best situation in the long run. Whether it be through diplomacy, economic deals, or internal situations and border changes. This is a preface for what's coming. In diplomacy, I've been large part held a forget the past, honor the future type of attitude. Something I feel has put me in good standing with a lot of our fellow leaders. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. I've been particularly open to working with both Samos and Centuria, as well as Waldrich, despite our difficult and sometimes rocky pasts. On this, I felt good doing it. It felt like I was making a genuine difference, and something others had told me I've done as well. Well, I'm getting assassinated, cool. Internally, I feel I've made a lot of blunders, both regarding the Xeno case and other related topics. I feel I've been too much of a fence-sitter in most cases, however I feel I took action when it was necessary. My view on the drama nations. My view on the drama nations have stayed relatively the same. I've said numerous times that I see us as a sort of friend or family. We bicker and we fight, as most do. However, we always find a way back to each other. To some degree. For a while now, we've been divided, as we know. However, we all still hold to the old union as something to be nostalgic over, something to praise. We're all similar in ways we don't see, from our democratic governments to our mindset on prosperity. We all tie back to the same past. For so long, we've been in a second Adramian Cold War, something that has caused so much rift and separation. But I think it's time for reconciliation, the blossoming of our ties again. And I ask that the new leaders that come after my time, that you heed my words the same I've done. Look past the borders, the rumors, and the back talk. Look at the people instead. Look at your neighbors. And look at actually who you're trying to war or death war. Because a lot of them are similar to you in ways you don't see. Closing remarks. This will be the last thing I say. Okay? I'd like to end our night by saying a couple of words about why I believe Adramis is. If the judiciary and the presidential candidates, those of you who are in-game, would mind coming up here, it would be really nice. Okay. They're presidential candidates, NA members, and diplomats. Adramis is wide steppes and tall mountains stretching far above the watery shallows. From the small scattered settlements to the massive towering cityscapes. The large snow dunes and the massive forests. But most of all, Adramis is us. The players, the people who spend hours every week to play on this game. Adramis is us who have long fought both with and against each other. Hated and cherished each other. Adramis is us. From the Valmerians, the Lasvidans, and the Samatians. All the way to the Valdricians, the Surarians, and the Essetanites. It is us who are Adramis. We're all still one people at the end of the day. We're all Adrami. We may not be united under a banner as we once were. We're still gathered under one people. We come from all over Abexilis, all here on our little patch of the server. A place all of us hold close. Adromis is the peoples of Surtan, Meravia, Esatan, Surare, Valdreach, San Sventissimo, Las Vidas, Muharib and Maharia, Ariso, Belarem, Insaris, and of course Quintos. All of us share a place we call home, some place that's ours. That is Adromis. Adromis is you. So, my final sentence, okay? How many people are in audience right now? 25? Okay. Here, suck my fucking dick, you fuck ass retards. Fuck all y'all. Thank you, and goodbye. Nice. Okay.
That's it.
That's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for your first president of this great union, Mr. Arctim Corsephone, whatever the fuck. Alright,
Yeah.
everyone clap. Everyone clap. Don't clap with your hands. Alright, also, everybody, I need you to vote Scales for NA!
Okay, bro.
As we should.
Yeah.
Everybody, so I need everybody to do right now. So I need everybody to do.
Also, everybody on stage. We're taking the photos. We're taking the photos.
Free burgers, of course,
cooked.
Skills.
Yo, everybody on stage. Hold on, Adina, I'm TPAing to you. Up on stage. Let's take
My
the
bad.
photo.
Missing it.
Okay, yo, sub. Did you clip the entire thing or just the rusted part?
Just the rusted part.
It's over. How long do we think this speech was, though? Like, just about 20
5
minutes?
minutes.
Maybe? What?
Yeah, it was
5?
way shorter
You
than I
can
thought
talk
it would
for a
be.
while, like 10, 15, something like that.
No.
Nice.
Like that. There's no way it went over 10 minutes.
I told him
What?
before this
Alright.
that, like, your speech is
What?
always
There's no
gonna be
way.
shorter than
Who
you
wants
thought
to
it
rest?
was gonna be.
Who wants to reprise?
Wait,
Oh,
no.
wait.
It has
Everybody hop on Rocket League!
No.
Yo, fuck off.
Christ.
Yo,
No one's hopping on Rocket League.
Adina,
Get out.
I'm
We're hopping
TPAing.
on Rocket.
Sub 1v1.
Yo, Tansel, you